Switch 2's release date apparently being right around the corner, there are many discussions about what games people want on the Switch 2 that might have made it onto the Switch and others haven't. Now, I personally have a weird selection of games that I know for a fact either have a slight chance of getting on the Switch 2 or have no chance at all. So, I thought this was actually a pretty interesting topic to touch on. And also, by the way, we have almost no info on what games are being released to the Switch 2 other than rumors and supposed leaks. We're very much still in the dark until either another Nintendo Direct talks about the Switch 2 again, or the device ends up being released to the public, along with a list of games. Me being me, I decided to take this opportunity to make a video I've been wanting to make for a long while. Also, this video is a bit shorter than usual because I wanted to make a quick indulgence video as we have no idea what the future holds for the Switch 2. Except for the fact that we know there's another Mario Kart coming with a bunch of new additions that I actually can't wait for. Also, please keep in mind this is purely a self-indulgence list and you are totally allowed to have your own opinions on what games you want for the Switch 2. The Switch 2. Anyway, without any further delay, let's get into this list. Paper Mario has been at a weird standoff point as of late because Nintendo made Paper Mario the Thousand Year Door remake for the Switch, and that led to some people apparently thinking that there won't be a Paper Mario game on the next console. Which, I don't know where that train of thought came from, but I think there's a pretty good chance. Also, I'm not going to get my hopes up, but I'm also not throwing in the towel in this instance. Paper Mario the original, or Paper Mario 64 as I constantly see it being called, is the game that started all of this Paper Mario hoopla back in 2000 on the Nintendo 64. I would love to see one of two things happen. 1. Paper Mario 64 is remastered and put on the Switch 2, or the second option, it has another port, just like the Nintendo Switch, and all of the other consoles that it was on beforehand. I personally would love to see this first option happen and see this game get the love and respect it deserves for kicking off one of Mario's most popular spin-offs. But I'm also not going to get absolutely destroyed and torn to shreds if it doesn't happen. I feel like this game gets overlooked a lot for Super Paper Mario or the Thousand Year Door, and to me that's actually kind of sad because when I played this game for the chapters ranking video, it was an absolute gem. Now I'm not at all saying that Super Paper Mario and the Thousand Year Door are bad, don't get it wrong. I love those games, but I have a very special place in my heart for the original. And I loved almost every single moment of playing it. I hope Nintendo at least puts this game on the Switch 2 and doesn't leave it behind in the dust. That's hoping at least. The Legend of Zelda is a classic Nintendo franchise and has many good titles such as Breath of the Wild, Wind Waker, Majora's Mask, Ocarina of Time, Tears of the Kingdom, Four Swords, the list goes on. But one title that I desperately want to see on the Nintendo Switch 2 is The Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess. I feel like this game is a game that really changed my love for Zelda in the best way possible. I ended up falling in love with Zelda thanks to this game. It's got a phenomenal story, good characters, the art is very late 2000s style, but it still looks pretty decent even today in my opinion. So the fact that this game hasn't made it to the Nintendo Switch at all, I'm actually very, very, very sad about that. That, to me, was an absolute tragedy. Sure, we have Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom, and Echoes of Wisdom being original Zelda games, and there's also the remake of Link's Awakening, and I believe Skyward Sword on the Switch, but I really, really, really wanted to see Twilight Princess make its way onto the Switch. Maybe the Switch 2 will be able to remedy this. I think it is a complete war crime that Star Fox hasn't had a new game in almost 10 flipping years. That's just messed up. Now, sure, there are rumors that there might be a Star Fox game coming out for the Switch 2, but I personally don't believe those kind of rumors unless I see it for myself in an official Nintendo announcement. The most recent attention Star Fox got was back in 2017 when Star Fox 64 was ported onto the Switch. That was almost 8 years ago. Sure, there was 2018 Starlink Battle for Atlas where Star Fox made an appearance. But man, I feel like this series deserves better than just getting port after port, HD remake after HD remake. I mean, there's a lot of content Star Fox has to work with here that they could easily make an entertaining game out of. But in all honesty, I would love to see a new original game for the Star Fox series on the Switch too. And hell, if worse comes to worse, I'll settle for another port. But I really do hope at the end of the day, Star Fox gets the respect and recognition it deserves on the Switch too. I guess we'll just have to wait and see what happens in the coming years. Who doesn't love Mario? Mario Galaxy got its spot on the Switch thanks to Super Mario 3D All-Stars, but a lot of people, including myself, were pretty disappointed when Super Mario Galaxy 2 didn't make it to the Switch back when All-Stars first released. That was kind of a bummer. I guess because it was supposed to be like the top 3 3D Mario games, but I feel like it was a huge missed opportunity for Nintendo. Super Mario Galaxy is a very good adventure that I haven't played since I believe 2019, but I still remember it vividly. I'd love to see it make its way onto the Nintendo Switch too, probably along with Galaxy 1 as well. I really hope this game can actually get its spot on the Switch too and continue to bring joy of the game to the world, especially with its unique gameplay, the beautiful sometimes scary worlds, and overall this game is just a really good time and I feel like it would be perfect for the Switch too. Or heck, maybe even a new Super Mario Galaxy game altogether. But I'm not gonna get my hopes up because I doubt that's gonna happen. Yoshi's Woolly World was a game that completely came out of left field for me, and I loved playing it on the Wii U. And I think it's only reasonable that Yoshi's Woolly World gets a port to the Switch too. This game is very creative and has very cute outside-the-box thinking. It was also the start of my addiction to craft-themed games, alongside Kirby's Epic Yarn, that is. This game is adorable and really fun to play. The controls could sometimes be a little bit goofy, but overall the level design is cute, the music is nice, and overall this is a woolly gem of a game. Let's just hope that the Switch 2 will port this beautiful woolly world. Luigi's Mansion 3 was a huge hit on the Nintendo Switch, and it was an adventure I constantly replay almost at least once a year. However, one thing I really wanted recently was a new Luigi's Mansion game. So what would be the story? Heck, I don't know, it's Luigi's Mansion! I feel like Nintendo will come up with something for it. I have no idea why I want to see this so badly, but I kind of want Luigi to tackle a haunted amusement park. Do not ask why. I just think this concept is really cool, and I think Nintendo could actually pull this off insanely well. Sure, it would be a little bit outside the box as it's called Luigi's Mansion, but hey, I just think it's cool, and also Luigi's Mansion 3 wasn't even in a mansion, it was in a hotel. Anyway, there are a bunch of ideas Nintendo could fish up here for a fourth game, and I think it'd be really cool to keep the spooksy feel alive for this franchise. I've never been too much of a fan of the pink puffy boy until I played Kirby's Epic Yarn and Kirby Star Allies. But one of my favorite games is Kirby Air Ride. A little bit of an out there game, but I love it. This game is just something that I could play all day and night when I'm supposed to be editing a video for my channel. I've definitely done that a couple of times. Just the feeling of a Mario Kart game with a Kirby skin on it is, well, it's fun, and in my opinion, it's more than that. To be honest with you, this game really deserves its own video. The tracks are well designed. The gameplay isn't too clunky, but still playable and enjoyable. Yes, I know it's a GameCube game, and only one GameCube game ever made it to the Nintendo Switch, and of course, it's freaking Mario Sunshine. I feel like the Switch 2 could potentially make this a reality if enough time, love, and care was put into it. I feel like this one is the most unique game I want on the Switch 2. Anyway, like most of the games on this list, I'm crossing my fingers and not getting my hopes up. The new Super Mario Bros. Series brought back the 2D Mario formula with a more modern touch and created the 2.5D Mario formula. The most recent game being New Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe in 2019, released on the Nintendo Switch, which, fun fact, is actually a port from the Wii U. It was a good game, but I really wish Nintendo would make another new Super Mario Bros. Game. Maybe one where they attempt to fix the speed issue and arena issues with the Koopaling bosses. Because if you know anything about the Koopalings, for the entire time that they have existed, they have had some major problems with their boss fights. And occasionally these errors actually hinder them. It's actually turning out to be a bit of a problem for the new Super Mario Bros. Series. Anyway, it could be a fun opportunity to maybe add a little difficulty spike in this formula and maybe, just maybe, make it a little bit less repetitive. I honestly would love to see a new addition to the new Super Mario Bros. Series for the Switch 2. But I don't know if it'll happen because there hasn't been a new one since the Wii U one, which I think was released back in 2012. Now, in my Super Mario Odyssey video, I expressed that I didn't give two craps whether or not a Super Mario Odyssey 2 happened. And to be honest, that is still my response. I'll play it if it comes out, but other than that, I don't have much faith and I'm not getting my hopes up. I honestly think that's the quota of this video. Now, secretly, I would love to see it happen. But 8 years later, and no word about a Super Mario Odyssey sequel, that kind of sealed my hopes up a bit. There's a lot Nintendo could do with Odyssey 2 if they ever decided to do it, but to be honest, Nintendo doesn't have the best track record with making game sequels. The story behind Super Mario Galaxy 2 is actually kind of telling in that arena. However, I feel like Super Mario Odyssey won't get a sequel. But it would be freaking awesome if it did! Donkey Kong Country. One of the game series that founded my channel back in the day, that I still love to this day in 2025. I also would love to point something out here. Donkey Kong has never had his own original game on the Switch. Sure, he had Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze, Mario vs. Donkey Kong, and most recently, Donkey Kong Country Returns HD Remake. But those are all remakes. Donkey Kong hasn't had one original Donkey Kong Country game or any original game on the Switch. But he also hasn't had an original Donkey Kong Country game in over 10 years. And I consider this to be a major crime on Nintendo's part. I desperately want a new Donkey Kong Country game on the Nintendo Switch 2. I feel like it'd be awesome, and Nintendo could do so much if they chose to do that. There are so many ideas Nintendo could go with. Maybe like bringing back other animal buddies instead of just Rambi, and maybe some of the other Kongs. I don't know, just a suggestion. Overall though, I feel like this series deserves to make a return instead of being subjected to HD remake after HD remake and port to port. Kind of like the Star Fox series. I just hope history doesn't repeat itself and we eventually get a new Donkey Kong Country game for the Nintendo Switch 2. Hey everyone, thank you so much for watching all the way through this video. If you like this video and you want to see more content like this, be sure to like, comment, and don't forget to subscribe and ring the bell. Also, huge thank you to my thumbnail artist for doing an amazing job. I couldn't have done it without you, buddy. Anyway, I hope you all are doing amazing, and I honestly cannot wait for the Nintendo Switch 2 to hit the market. Anyway, see you in the next video. Bye!